Welcome back, focused learners. Today, we're diving into a playbook that is going to fundamentally change how you use Claude. I'm talking about taking it from just some passive tool that you casually type questions into and turning it into a really sharp, active reasoning assistant, basically a dedicated analyst on your team. If you've ever looked at an AI output and thought, well, that's kind of generic, or found yourself doing way too much manual tweaking, stick around, because this explainer is a real game changer. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Are you treating your AI like a colleague or a search box? Think about it for a second. Most of us have spent literally the last 20 years training our brains to talk to search engines. We type in a few panicked keywords and cross our fingers that the machine guesses what we want. But here's the thing. Claude is not a search box. It's a reasoning engine. And if you're briefing it the same way you'd query a search engine, you are leaving an absolutely massive amount of capability on the table.
So, to fix that, we're going to walk through a structured, highly practical onboarding playbook today. We'll start with getting the right mental model, then we'll look at structuring your requests. After that, we'll hit the art of iteration, unpack the pro tool belt, and finally, lock in the daily habits that separate casual users from the real pros.
All right, part one, the right mental model, moving from search to reasoning. Let's start with our very first major paradigm shift. We've got to completely rewire how we look at that empty text box. So the crucial point is this: context always beats cleverness. Think about it. A traditional search engine totally relies on you being clever with your keywords, right? It forces the machine to guess your intent, but a reasoning assistant relies on actual data. Don't waste your time just describing an email, or a ticket, or your resume. You need to literally paste the actual email, the raw logs, the data, right into the prompt. Claude works from what is right in front of it, not what it has to magically guess.
And you can see that shift beautifully in action right here. A casual user might just type, "Write me a resume summary," which, forces the AI to guess. But look at a professional prompt. It assigns a role and strict boundaries. Act as a technical recruiter. Rewrite this summary for a senior manager technical support role. 3 lines max, leading with scale of operations and ITL-AGO governance. Do you see the difference there? You aren't just asking a question anymore. You are actively managing an outcome.
Moving on to part 2, structuring your requests, the work order.
To communicate effectively with a reasoning engine, we really need to treat our requests with the exact same operational discipline as a work order. We call this the pro-prompt formula. It goes like this: role plus goal plus constraints equals a good prompt. First up, who should Claude act as? Second, what is the exact outcome you want? And third, what are the boundaries? Setting these guardrails up front completely prevents the AI from making unhelpful assumptions, which means you get what you actually need right on the very first draft.
Let's break that formula down into a reliable little mini work order template. This taps right into those project management skills you probably already have. First is the role, like act as a senior IT service delivery consultant. Next, the goal. Just state the one outcome you actually need, and honestly, skip the unnecessary backstory. Then we have the input. This is exactly where you paste that real data we talked about, the resume text or the email thread. Fourth is the format. Get specific. Tell it if you want a bulleted list, a table, or an email draft, and dictate the word count and tone. And finally, constraints. Explicitly tell Claude what to avoid, like specific jargon, excessive length, or making outside assumptions.
Now, what's really fascinating about this approach is how seamlessly this template scales to highly technical, high-stakes tasks. For example, consider a root cause analysis draft. A pro user says, act as a problem manager. Using this incident timeline, draft a 5-section RCA. Summary, timeline, root cause, impact, corrective actions. Keep it factual, no speculation. By clearly defining that role, giving the specific 5-section format, pasting the timeline as input, and hitting it with that no speculation constraint, bam! You get a professional, ready-to-use document instead of just some generic, fluffy summary.
Okay, part 3, the art of iteration, push, don't restart.
So you've structured your work order, you fired it off, and you have your first draft. Now what? Well, the real magic of Claude actually happens in the second and third messages, but only if you master the art of iteration. You have to push the draft forward, don't just restart from scratch. Let's look at a true masterclass in giving targeted editorial feedback. If your first draft is, say, 80% of the way there, whatever you do, don't open a new chat and re-explain everything. Tell Claude exactly what to fix. Saying something like, make this 30% shorter, keep every number, is such a brilliant constraint. It forces the AI to tighten up the text without stripping out the critical hard data that actually makes it valuable in the first place.
Here's another totally game-changing iteration technique. Rewrite the second paragraph only. More direct, no filler phrases. Look, pro users don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
They don't ditch an otherwise great document just because one single paragraph is clunky. They go in and surgically fix specific areas. It is so much faster than reprompting, and crucially, it keeps all the parts of the document that are already working perfectly intact.
Oh, and here is a surprisingly effective move. Give me two versions, one firm, one softer. I'll pick. This simple little follow-up completely transforms Claude from a basic text generator into a legitimate thinking partner. Instead of you sitting there agonizing over getting the exact right tone, you just offload that work to the AI. It gives you the options, and you get to elevate yourself to the role of the decision maker, evaluating those options.
And hey, if you're ever stuck on how to improve an output, try this. Ask Claude to critique its own work. If you just command it to make this better, a lot of times it just kind of swaps out some synonyms and calls it a day. But asking, what's weak or generic about this draft? Then fix just that. Oh man, that forces the reasoning engine to actually analyze its own structure and logic, and it almost always surfaces a significantly better, highly targeted edit.
Let's move to part 4 and see how this builds. The Pro Tool Belt, knowing what to reach for.
Generating text is really just the baseline. To be a true pro, you've got to know about the specific native features hiding just beyond that text box. Let's rapidly map out exactly when to use which tool. Need current facts, stock prices, or breaking news? Claude's web search feature will automatically check this when it matters. What if you need an actual file format, like a slide deck, a document, or a spreadsheet? Just ask directly. Claude can generate a real file for you to download. Dealing with a complex calculation, a chart, or heavy data cleanup? Rely on code execution. Claude will actually write and run Python live right there and give you the result. Now, if you have something you're going to edit or reuse repeatedly, like a tracker or a template, that is exactly when you want artifacts. This creates a persistent, editable workspace right next to your chat. And finally, if you want Claude to remember your role, your specific preferences, or ongoing projects across totally different sessions, make sure the memory feature is turned on in your settings. Knowing exactly which tool to reach for is going to save you an absurd amount of time.
Finally, Part 5, Habits for Pro Users, the Operating System.
All right, we've covered the mental model, the request structure, iteration, and the tool belt. Now we just need to wire these practices into your daily operating system. These are the fundamental workflow changes that totally separate casual dabblers from daily power users. Let's run through the 5 essential daily habits. Number 1, one thread per project. Keep a single ongoing chat for a specific task, like a single RCA or a specific client, so the context builds up over time instead of resetting. Number 2, give your constraints up front in the very first message. Don't wait until it makes a mistake. Number 3, like we just talked about, always ask it to critique its work before you ask it to fix it. Number 4, actually use it as a thinking partner. Feed it 3 options you're weighing and ask it to poke holes in them rather than just doing a single generate and accept pass. And number 5, which honestly might be the most important, close the loop. When a draft finally hits the mark, tell Claude what worked. Acknowledging that success literally sharpens the AI's understanding of your preferences for the rest of that entire conversation.
Listen, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this playbook today, let it be this core anchor right here. Brief it like a colleague, push it like an editor, and let it hold the parts of the project you don't want to retype every time. I'm telling you, that is the definitive formula for getting high-quality, professional output every single day.
You have the playbook now. You know how to provide the actual context, write a proper work order, surgically iterate, use the right tools, and build the daily habits. The search box days, they are officially over. So I'll leave you with this. Take a look at your task list. What complex, messy project are you going to assign to your perfectly briefed, highly capable new analyst today? Go put this framework into practice right now, and we'll see you in the next explainer.